This is what we are going to see here. In terms of his occult necessities, Savitri has to keep that knowledge. You see, now here we are talking of Savitri knows the hour of her husband's death. She is not going to reveal it to anybody at all. She is keeping entirely to herself. Savitri, of his occult necessities, Savitri has to keep that knowledge of the death of her husband entirely to herself. Entirely to herself. She keeps it so. In the moment of her soul's despair, in its grim encounter with death and fear, no cry breaks from her lips, no call for aid bursts from her heart. Obviously, see what capacity that lady must be having. She sees the entire problem there, the calamity of her life, and she is not going to listen. She is absolutely passionless, so to say. Nor is there any aid available, neither from men. No one, nobody can help her in such a moment. Neither from men, nor from nature, nor from the gods. See, when Savitri is meeting death, only nature below and gods above, nature's soul below and gods above, they were the only spectators of that mighty strife between Savitri and death, Yama. Nature's soul below and gods above, they were the only mighty strife. Savitri alone, neither from men nor from nature, but nobody can help her. Savitri has to hide that future even from her those whom she loves. Obviously, this is an imperative. Not to know the future is an act of supreme grace for us. Really, it is an act of supreme grace for us. But for the prepared, it brings the power that can change the future itself. Savitri has that power. Therefore, she has given that knowledge. Actually, in the Puranic stories, there is one more instance when King Parikshit had the knowledge of his death. See, something happened and he received a curse. And the curse was that after 1 week he is going to die. And that curse cannot be erased at all. It has to happen. So he had the knowledge that after 1 week he is going to die, absolutely. So he engages himself in yajna, in his worship and that kind of a thing, and then he accepts the death. Well, in a certain sense, the convict who receives a death sentence, he knows that death is there, he can't help it. I don't know in what manner he prepares, but those souls who had taken, those convicts who had taken upon them the holy task, the noble task of defending, for instance, their nation, they gladly receive the moment of death, and with the Gita in their hand, they go up to the gallows and sacrifice themselves. They keep on chanting. Those were the people who were present in the last generation, a couple of generations ago here in India, you see. They had received the death sentence. They are going to die, and then they were chanting Gita all the while in the room and all that kind of a thing. And when they are going to the gallows, they were carrying the Gita in their hand and then sacrificing themselves. That is a great moment, you see. But that is a small thing compared with what Savitri is saying here. Savitri is a different thing. Savitri has to hide that future even from those whom she loves, obviously. This is an imperative. Not to know the future is an act of supreme grace. Now, there is one problem which troubles me at this moment. And the problem is, see, Savitri alone in that place knows about the arrival of Satyavan's death. The moment, that noon, that forenoon noon, etc., etc. She alone knows. The rishis in the hermitages, her parents-in-law, her husband, nobody knows about that thing at all, and therefore Savitri is alone. But my problem is, Yes, Savitri of course is alone there, but her parents also knew. Her parents also knew. Her parents. Savitri, Savitri in the entire forest, in the hermitages, etc., was alone about the coming moment of Satyavan's death. She is not going to reveal it to anybody at all. But the problem is, what was the psychological state of her parents who also knew about the death of Savitri's husband at this particular moment? Because they were all present. Narad has told to all the three, Savitri's parents and her, Savitri's reckoning she is doing here. Now, what was the psychological condition of her parents? That is not known to anybody at all, you see. In what way they were also kind of preparing themselves for this moment. Savitri has gathered the force, etc., is all right, but Ashwapati, the queen, mother queen, how they were receiving that moment, that is not coming out at all. Well, that would have been a different kind of a story altogether, you see. But my feeling is that obviously they knew it and they are not going to keep quiet. They are in their own way doing yajna, tapasya, worship, or whatever you want to call it, to receive the divine power, to give all the help to Savitri. You see, they are not going to just keep quiet there, you see. Her parents, Ashwapati particularly the yogi, and obviously her mother also, because she has such love for her daughter. I mean, she is not going to be quiet. She will be engaged in some kind of a tapasya or worship or yajna or whatever it is, to see that the necessary help goes to Savitri at that particular moment of time. Obviously, you see. Now, that would have been a kind of a digression in the main narrative of Savitri, but I think we can surmise it that way, you see. Here is a long forenoon and fatal morn. I told you, long forenoon and fatal morn. Yes, fatal morn, the day of death is coming. Long forenoon, that is important. Long forenoon, it is not 1 year before, it is not from the moment Narad has told, long belongs to something more than that. It is right from the beginning of the, when Savitri felt the body's ache, the voiceless call of the body when she felt, it is from that moment the long forenoon noon begins. The long forenoon noon was predicted, was fixed at that moment. The moment Savitri has put her hand on her bosom at that moment. And this morn is going to bring a noon that could be an exceptionally different kind of a noon in which could be locked the entire fate of the creation. Obviously, this is a noon. It is a question of do or die moment, you see. But even in this moment, our souls grimaced despair. Forenoon, grimaced despair. That moment is coming. Kshana. Even in his forbidding rendezvous with death and fear, Savitri is alone. And no cry breaks from her lips. And no call for it goes from her passionate yet calm heart. Savitri, she is calm and courage keeps her mute. Such courage she has got, she remains silent. She does not speak a word at all, you see. She has got the strength, courage, you see. The strength of her calm is in courage. The strength of her courage is in calm. Even her humanity is half divine. Savitri always remains Savitri. Savitriness is an incontingent Savitriness. It does not depend upon conditions. Savitri remains Savitri irrespective of whatever conditions in which she is. That is her personality, incontingent. Savitri spirit open to the spirit in all. Her nature feels all nature as its own. That is the kind of a wonder. Her dread is one with the great cosmic dread. The universal mother's love is her. She has that widespread universality, a oneness, the necessary basis to attain the great work she has to do. Of her pangs, she makes a mystic, poignant sword, a sword to strike against the evil that there at the suffering roots of life. You see. Evil at life's suffering root, that is death. What is that evil at life's roots? Death. It is that she has to strike with her. Savitri is to do that unshared work of the immortal. The immortal is doing the work, but it is an unshared work. But that because it has remained unshared, she has to come here in mortality and share that work. Savitri is to do that unshared work of the immortal. And unlike him, she is going to do it by being in the mortal world. This unshared work is concerning the evil that afflicts roots of life. Evil which appeared when life entered into material objects. When did that evil occur? At the roots of life, there is the evil. When did that evil occur? That evil occurred when life, prana, entered into matter, into material objects. When life entered into material objects, the constitution of matter is such that the moment life enters into it, it throws an answer to life in the form of death. Therefore, if you want to really solve the problem of death, you have to go back to matter and change the constitution, the character of matter, so that it does not throw that kind of an answer to life, you see. Appeared when life entered into material objects. The immortal cannot do this work unless in mortality, Savitri shares it in the mortal condition. That is the imperative. Savitri rises to this immortal's unshared work, not in the world of immortality, but in the mortal world itself. In fact, that is the whole crux. Unless you do things here, nothing can happen. In the mortal world, where only it has got to be done. There is a realm which Savitri has accepted for her birth. See, Savitri is coming from the divine immortal world. Savitri is presently in the world of mortality. So she is a kind of a double creature. She is, in fact, this citizen, denizen of the immortal world. But she is immortal. There is a realm which Savitri has accepted for her work. She has accepted it by being in it, in the mortal world. She has accepted it since the beginning of the earth, beginning of the mortal world. And there is a realm from which Savitri has come, the immortal world, the dynamic world. So these are the two realms. She has accepted this world. She actually belongs to the Brihat. Between these two realms, there is a deep cleft. There is separation between these two gaps. A hiatus is there between these two realms. And Savitri was lying there, prone, lying there for long eons, lying on the lap of Earth's original somnolence, that lassitude of inconscience. It is in that state Savitri was lying for a long time, lying in the state of inconscient lassitude, inert, forgetful of everything, remote, untouched by grief and care. You see, there is grief and all that thing, but she is in a state of somnolence, so she doesn't feel that thing at all. And grief present in her breast itself. She lay there unconscious on mind's verge, obtuse and tranquil like a stone and a star, dumb, quiet, and lowly in brightness, braving the frightening, enormous depths and extensions of the night. Savitri is braving that thing, you see. But now she is lying in that cleft. She belongs to that. She is here. Between them there is a gap. She is now in that state of somnolence. And there she. But now memory has awoken up. Savitri stirs. Savitri has a sense of the surrounding, perception of things involved. Savitri moves like a mute shadow, a shadow which cannot speak, you see. She is moving in this mute shadow. She lays her hand upon her bosom and spots the close and lingering ache. That pain is there. She's spotting that old deep ache, an ache that has become natural to its place. She knows not why it is there, why that pain is there. She knows not that. She knows not whence it came, from where it has come. She knows not that. Because she is in the state of somnolence, she is waking up from that. The power that kindles mind is still away in Savitri. The torch of sense refuses to burn.